In a world so connected, it's equally challenging as it is easy to be distant. We live in an environment where we are constantly meeting people, whether they are new peers, old classmates, teachers, or advisors. But how many of those interactions will you really remember? And do these small moments even matter? Gestures like holding the door open or saying hi to people you pass by in the halls collect each day like dust settling on our journey of life. But I am here to say that those moments do matter. Every memory you make at Appleby does. Hi, my name is Enya. I would like to talk about connections, second chances, and the little moments that quietly become the greatest memory we carry forever. When people first arrive at Appleby, they're often taken aback by how large the campus is. Every single tour I've done has included at least one comment about how the school feels like a maze with all its rooms, buildings, and halls. I was no different. Entering Appleby in grade 7 was intimidating. I was moving into a completely new environment, a new stage of my life, and the friends I made before were gone. The comfort of small classes and familiar faces had vanished. There are about 100 people in a grade here, and you might not even meet some of them before you graduate. And the campus was big enough that just by walking to classes, I would have gotten enough exercise for the day. To make things more complicated, it was during the COVID lockdowns. Do you remember starting the school with the broken Zoom meetings? Anyways, I had just dropped out my previous schools a couple months earlier and hadn't had a proper conversation in almost 4 months. When I arrived, I saw a few familiar faces. Though we had been classmates, we hadn't really talked much. Maybe you remember having a classmate in grade 8 that you were super close with during class, but as you grew older, they eventually phased out of your life because you have stopped having the same classes. It was something like that, and I wasn't sure if I should have said hi and tried to rebuild those connections, and I certainly didn't. I thought the friendships had already drifted, and they probably didn't want to talk. I was worried that in trying again, it would make me look strange or desperate, but really, not trying is what I would come to regret. Grade 9 is the year that most students enter. You probably had a classmate or old friend coming in from your school, especially if you're here in grade 7. Perhaps you kept in contact for the first 2 months, but eventually a busy week sweeps by and those messages become unanswered. And that was the end of that friendship. They were people whose contact had long died, but their memories stayed fresh in our minds. My past classmates came back. And again, I still wasn't sure how to interact. I clapped for their tie ceremony and welcomed them back like everyone else. But they became the familiar strangers you meet in the halls, the ones you would try to avoid the awkwardness by taking out your phone and pretending to scroll once you saw them out of the corner of your eye. Or maybe act like the same floors we've walked through thousands of times were work of art that needed to be studied meticulously. For me, talking to strangers felt easier than reconnecting with people I used to know. New acquaintances were easy to make, but it was hard to bridge that gap into friendship. By grade 10, we began to lose track of things. The house of cards, so neatly polished in the past few grades, started to fall apart. Chasing friendships fell behind the priority of chasing grades, and with the lingering pressure of university behind us, I think all of us were more than a bit stressed. I barely had time to get my uniform right, the black and navy mismatched uniform socks thrown haphazardly on, and the crooked tie that hasn't been fixed in 3 months. It was a mess. I knew time was limited and reserved for studying, but the ideas of mending past friendships still lingered in the back of my mind. It was those daydreams that ingrained so deeply in your head. You have to make empty promises to get your brain to shut up. Do you ever procrastinate on answering messages? I do. I tell myself, I'll reply later, I'll reply when I have a break, etc. But in reality, you already know you'll be too tired to reply after you're finished with your work. Yet the comfort of saying it helps you stay focused despite the distractions. And for us, the breaks never really came. How many times did you have to do work during the long weekends? Any projects that were optional to work on but never given enough time during school days? Or tests appearing right after a long weekend? Sure, it's expected to study while you have some time off, but it often feels like we're running on a never-ending marathon. Walking down the halls, I caught myself looking at the floor more often than at people's faces. Avoiding became the default, and answering messages became an afterthought. It wasn't that I didn't care. I knew I did, but I couldn't find the motivation to do it. Have you have you ever thought about sending someone a text while lying in bed, desperately trying to sleep? Maybe you imagined a magical sentence that could fix everything, the empty silences and wishes to reconnect, but by the time you thought of it, you were already halfway to dreamland. So you promised yourself you'd send it tomorrow, and when you woke up, you had already forgotten. Slowly, friends and acquaintances drifted away, and I didn't make an effort to pull them back in. As more time passed, the same question kept haunting me. Are we still good enough friends to say hi, or should I pretend I didn't see you? In hindsight, I should have said hi regardless. It costs nothing. But back then, it felt safer to withdraw than to than to reach out and being ignored, or even worse, saying the wrong thing. What could you say to explain what happened during those empty silences? I didn't know. It felt like my test and friendship had blurred into one thing, and I never knew the right answers. When the stress built up, I turned to distractions. What do you do to de-stress? Playing games, scroll, or some other hobbies? For me, it was video games. It started out as a 30-minute break, but soon turned into an average about 5 to 6 hours a day. I think many people can relate, even if it isn't games. Distractions are comforting, but they also delay reality. And eventually, when the games turned off, I realized how quiet everything was. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was empty. The loneliness crept in, and FOMO hit hard. Maybe you felt that too. First time scrolling through Instagram and seeing everyone hanging out without you. It's hard not to be envious. It made me wonder if I had missed my chance to belong or make memories. I kept thinking of the what-ifs and started to give up on the present. Time at Applebee is more precious than any gem. But with the time I had wasted, even robbing the Louvre would not compensate. People say time management is a crucial skill, but sometimes there just isn't enough time to be managed. That means something gets left behind. But time moves on, even if we're stuck in our own problems, and so does everyone else. It seems that everyone had sprinted ahead of us, and we are being left behind. People who were once our close friends have gone to chase after the finish line, and we will be too busy trying to catch up to ever talk again. But I want to offer a new perspective on the same story. Maybe in our eyes, the bonds has very well severed, but in theirs, they still seek to mend it. There were people who reached out to me despite my silences, and their consistency changed me. Socializing takes two people. When you're overthinking what to say, the person at the end of the hall might be doing the same, and they aren't ignoring you because they hate you or anything. They might just be waiting for you to speak first, to say hi again, or for the right time. But when both people are waiting, the room fills up with silence. I wouldn't dare say I connected with my friends through my own efforts. They reached out first, and it is through their kindness I found the courage to reach back. It will take time to rebuild what once was, but what's more admirable is that they reached out despite their own busy schedule, and I couldn't be more grateful. And don't you want to be the same person for that someone else? To give someone else the same feeling of being seen and valued? We often underestimate how people want to reconnect with us and how much we mean to them, but we are too scared to make the first move because we don't want to be seen as desperate. But it's not desperate, it's brave. Think about it. In a day so busy, someone took the time to send you a message to show that they care about you. Now, looking back, there wasn't any harm in saying hi again. And even these small gestures reassure us that someone still cares about them in their busy lives. These small gestures are the ones that open us up to further reconnections. And who wouldn't want to be reached out to? You have control over every decision you make, and you can make the choice to reach out and give others the same feelings of comfort and care. You might struggle. It will be hard, especially being the first person to reach out. But that's okay. Know that the friendships you build here will last a lifetime, and it's worth putting in the effort. And maybe a part of being a teenager is making the same mistakes that people warn you about 1,000 times, but our time here is scarce, and the memories you build will be sacred. So I hope you can take the lessons from my mistakes instead. And it's okay to struggle as you learn, especially in this era of acting so nonchalant. There is charm and beauty in trying your best. We often dwell on our memories like movies, and in doing so, we lose track of the present moment that create those memories. Our relationships are not so different. Instead of focusing on the past as I once did, I hope that you can spend the time you have left at Applebee creating new, beautiful memories. You'll regret it much sooner if you don't make up for the lost time and let countless joys slip through your fingers. So maybe you're sitting next to a friend or an acquaintance. I hope you can share your hymn books and maybe say hi to those familiar strangers once more. I know that it isn't quite Christmas yet, but please stand and sing hymn 91.